All right, welcome everybody to the Summer Blockbuster Review. This is episode 11. We are reviewing Guardians of the Galaxy. As always, I have my host with me, Richard Optimus 124. Go ahead and tell the people hello, sir.
Hello, everybody. How are y'all?
All right, and I am your host, Harry, aka the Mind of Cube. And like I said earlier, we are reviewing the Guardians of the Galaxy. And as always, Richard, go ahead and start us off, sir.
All right. You know what? This is kind of Marvel's. This is Marvel's litmus test to see whether or not they can print money or not. Pretty much is what it came down to, and it looks like they'll probably succeed. You know, I liked the movie. I thought it was good. The best way if I was describing it to somebody as far as the type of movie or the tone that it really was, is that this movie is pretty much it takes Star Wars. And if you just completely remove the Jedi Force aspect of it and add in a knockoff version of Darth Vader, it's pretty much what you get. Not saying it's a negative, but that's just how I look at the movie as far as the tone and how it was pieced together. It did have a little more. Out of all the Marvel movies, I'd say this one's probably the funniest of them all, at least the way that the humor was portrayed. Um, there of course there is a cameo that kind of starts to try to link the Phase 2 and more than likely going into Phase 3. There is a cameo that's done. Well, it's not even a cameo. It's more like actually a scene. Like I said, the humor was. I liked the humor of the movie. I thought Batista's portrayal of Drax the Destroyer, I thought that was actually pretty awesome. He was my favorite character in the movie, honestly. Uh, and I mean, it was just a fun ride. I mean, for me, it was kind of one of those movies you walk out of, you're like, that wasn't bad. It was. I can't say it was better than I expected because I got out of it what I wanted, but to say that it's definitely not cap. It's not cap 2 level. So I'll just go ahead and come out and say that right off.
Okay, thank
Right
you,
over here.
thank you, thank you.
Yeah, it's not cap 2 level. So I think the reviewers, people who are seeing it, I think they're kind of skewed a little bit. I think it's just because it literally is a movie about characters that Marvel has put no investment in, and all of a sudden is throwing them out there, and people are like, oh well, this is actually kind of works, and I think that's pretty much why it's gotten all the acclaim that it has. As a movie itself, it does have a couple of flaws. I would say that in the beginning that it's a very emotional beginning of the movie, and I did not expect that, but when you get into the movie itself, I think the first one they're trying to do the build up of how these characters are actually all going to join together. I think the pacing of it was a little bit iffy, but once it got started and it started moving, I think that's when the movie really picked up. The main villain, which is Ronan the Accuser, he really didn't do anything, which is why I say he's a knockoff Darth Vader because he had even the way he actually was introduced was like the scene in Empire Strikes Back. So he really didn't do very much. He was just kind of there to be like, I'm bad. That's really all that he really did. But other than that, I think that actually to say that they pretty much did like a knockoff Avengers movie on a first try, that was actually, I thought they did a pretty good job. So I say I recommend going to see it. It's not like, ooh, must-see movie of the summer, but I would definitely have to say it's one of those movies where if you wanted to go see a movie this summer, definitely one that you should go ahead and catch.
Okay, you touched on every point that I really want to make, and that's why I'm not jumping up and down as this is a must-go-see movie of the summer, like you
Okay.
said yourself. And like you said, Rowan the Destroyer pretty much didn't do anything except for have one badass scene in the entire movie.
Yeah,
That
that
was
was
a
good.
cutaway.
Yeah.
Didn't get to see him actually do anything. And here, let me start from the beginning. So I only know of the Guardians of the Galaxy because I've previously read the Infinity War, so I know they
Right.
are a part of that with Thanos. So I knew they existed. I don't know anything about Drax, Rocket, Root, or Star-Lord. I know nothing about that. Like you said, the beginning was very dramatic and pretty well done. I think it gave very good character development into Star-Lord himself.
Hmm. Yeah.
And that's what I thought this whole entire movie was basically character development, basically the necessary evil that you need to launch into Phase 2, just like you needed the original Captain America to launch into the Avengers.
I
That's
can
what I
see that.
thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
This
Okay.
movie isn't Captain America, the first one, bad. it's Marvel has a great team of writers. That's I want to go ahead and get that out.
I'd say yes.
Yeah, because when people like to blame movies for being terrible and awful, it's usually not the director's fault, it's the writer's fault. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why this movie isn't terrible and awful. The writers that Marvel has hired or the scripts that they decided to go with are spectacular scripts itself. I was captivated the entire time, and like I said, I know nothing about these characters. The only other reason I would probably say you need to watch this movie if it was a bad movie is to so you can know how the storyline falls in place with everything else.
Mm-hmm.
But this movie is well written. It kept me entertained. I didn't nod off in the movie because I had one hell of a night and went to an early show. So trust me, sleep was on my mind, and I was thinking this movie is bad. I'm going to be passed out. But no, it kept me interested, and I watched it the entire time. The movie going through. It's just that reading the reviews because I like to read the reviews before I go to see the movie, and everybody was talking about best Marvel movie ever made. I
Nah.
no, no. This is not even the best movie of the summer. It's really not. And now I just want to roll right into the spoiler alert here. So let's just go ahead and get that out the way. If you
Okay.
haven't seen the movie, go ahead and hit the X button, but come back and watch us later on because I do like for y'all to watch. And also give a shout out. There is the Q&A is live, so if you want to drop us a question, go ahead and do that. So now we're getting into the spoiler part of the movie. Uh, how should I say? Like the whole, like Rowan the Destroyer. And like the preview just had this guy walking around with a big, huge mace the entire time. I'm thinking there's going to be some fight action. And then when he actually shows up and meets the Guardians of the Galaxy and he has that fight scene with Drax, I'm thinking, oh, okay, we get to see some cool action here. And it's really is he drops his mace. No, my bad. He didn't even take his mace off the
Nah.
ship. So he was just walking around, and granted, he was cool what he did, but it just wasn't enough. I wanted some more, and
Yeah, and that was kind of because when you see him fight the first time, you're like, oh, okay, and it's kind of like they're teasing you the whole time, like, okay, Ronan's gonna go ahead and do something epic, and then he's just tossing around Bautista like nothing. He's just like throwing him around. It's like he's almost like he's hitting every reaction command on time through that whole fight scene, and
you
then
know,
when he
funny
go
that you
ahead.
say that because I was thinking when I first saw that, my mind went straight to Resident Evil 4 where Leon is fighting Wesker, and
Yep.
I challenge anybody to get that right the first time.
Yeah.
That took several tries, but yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, no. I mean, and that was like him as a villain. I would have to say he was literally the equivalent of a stepping stone. Like he was. It was
Pretty weak.
funny.
He was pretty weak.
Say what now?
He was pretty weak as a villain.
Yeah, I mean, and that was if I would say there was a flaw in the movie, it'd be like I said, the pacing earlier, and then I would say Ronan the Accuser would kind of be the only other gripe I really have with it, and it's just because he didn't do anything. It was the who's what was the guy from Amistad? What was his character's name? Because I don't remember his actual character's name, but it was
I
this.
can't help you. He was a better villain than Rowan was.
Well, yeah, because he actually did stuff. But what was funny about it is that it was like the one time in this movie where I actually snapped out of watching it, where he was like, what did he say? He was like, "Whoa, wait!" But Thanos, he was like when he got the Infinity Stone, and he's like, "Oh, wait!" But Thanos is the most powerful being in the galaxy. I'm like, okay, you need
Yes.
this exposition line. Why'd you throw that in there? I mean, I'm not complaining about it,
Yeah.
but it's just like it was like one of those things. Like he looked at the camera and was like, "Wait, Thanos is the most powerful villain in the galaxy," and it was like, okay,
Quite,
we get that we get we're supposed to know that. I think we
quite
kind of
cool.
already got to that point.
Yeah. That was quite coonish of a line. But yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that very exactly. And you know what? Speaking of that whole Thanos, and that's who you were talking about earlier, talking about the special cameo in the movie. Uh, I was hoping that Thanos and Rowan would get it on, so we can actually see how much of a badass Thanos is.
Yeah, well, I wasn't really expecting that, but like you said, it was just kind of like you wanted Ronan to do more except say that, hey, you have been accused. And then it's like, okay, of what? I mean, we know that they had the Kree had a falling out with Xandar and all that other stuff. I know that that was part of it, but it wasn't really the key to a good villain is they have to have a motive, and he really, outside of the fact that it was like basically a vengeance ploy, there really wasn't much to Ronan for that, and that's kind of one of the things about this movie that you had to introduce 5 other characters, and then you also would have to put this villain as, being the greatest thing of all time next to Thanos himself. And you really just can't. You couldn't really do that in one movie, so something had to take a loss. And unfortunately, it was the villain that took that loss. Because all of the Guardians actually had some development of themselves as a person, what their motives are, why they are the way that they are. So, I mean, they all had some motive. Ronan just seemed like he was kind of just there. But that was the only real issue I had with the movie. Other than that, I'd say if someone told me that they wanted to go see this movie again, I'd have to say, yeah, let's go. I just
And here's the thing. Yes, I'll probably watch the movie a couple more times, but it's once if I've experienced it once on the big screen, I'm pretty much good, unless the girl is really hot and she wants to go see the movie. That's
right.
about it. That's about it. Because, like you said, that's the one thing in all these movies that we've seen from Marvel Universe, the villain has had some type of motive as to why he's doing it, like you put so eloquently. And it's missing from it. It's a big plot thing because, you have the protagonist, you have the antagonist. Why are they conflicting? That's
right.
That's the reason why we go to watch these superhero movies. And maybe if I read some of the comic books, I would know why Rowan is after, I forgot the planet, Nova Stone. Nova? Was it Nova?
Xandar.
Xander, yeah, why he's after them.
But the unfortunate thing about it is that why should you have to read the comics to understand how the movie works? The comics should kind of be like it's like a ode to the story, but not necessarily saying that I want to see Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 actually play out on screen. That's because to me that kind of defeats the purpose of actually going to see the movie. If you're gonna go, I mean, I could probably imagine better special effects in my own head. So why would I pay $10-15 to go see? Oh, that's speaking of which, I know a segue. I saw it at RPX at my theater, and I didn't really think it was worth it. Like I saw Transformers in RPX, and like the sound was just like whoa. But this movie, when I saw it, the sound was done well, but it wasn't like ooh, like there wasn't really, I guess, as good of a sound mix with this movie, at least for me.
We'll get down to the technical aspects of this movie. Yeah, but yeah, back to the script and plot of the movie. It's just, I don't want to take away from this movie because it is a good movie. I don't think it's worthy of the title as best Marvel movie ever, best superhero movie, best movie of the summer so far. I don't think it's worthy of that. It is a good movie. I do want people.
It might be best comedy.
Yeah, it might be best comedy.
It might be best comedy.
Yeah,
I probably did that one.
I laughed at this movie more than I probably laughed at any comedy I've gone to see this year.
I'd have to agree.
I laughed at this movie more than any Marvel movie I've seen outside of the original Wolverine Origins because I thought that was a pure comedy.
That was out of hate, not out of love, though.
Yeah, that was out of hate, not out of love. Yeah, that was unintentional laughter.
Right.
But yeah, this movie, I will say, go see it on the big screen. And I'll move now into the technical aspects of this movie and the visual concepts that they portrayed on the screen. And after seeing Hercules, this was a huge step up. So, I always got to go with what is fresh in my mind. And since Hercules was the last movie that I saw and those wonderful special effects in that movie, watching this movie was great. But you got to take a back seat to it because you have to realize that that city is fictitious. The spaceships are fictitious. None of that's really there. Right. So they did an excellent job of making all that look real. You couldn't see the lines of reality in the computer animation. So that was an excellent job. The spaceship and the outer space scenes were spectacular done. It was almost as good as Star Trek Into the Darkness, but not that good. So it's very, very well done with the special effects. I think the only time that I was looking at it and saying that this was an obviously fake or that person's not there was Thanos' character because he is elevated in the air and he is 100% computer animated, but he takes the actor's facial expressions very
Yeah.
well. But you can tell that this isn't real. This isn't happening.
Right.
That was the only thing I was a little bit disappointed with. Also with Thanos' blue daughter, I forgot her name. I'm sorry.
Oh, you had to say. It's like I wrote all this stuff down, but I can't remember her name.
Yeah, her
Start with.
character, she looked kind of out of place at times because, oh gosh, what was Zoe's? I forgot her character's name.
That's Gamora.
Yes, her character was actually her with the green body paint on. Where this chick, it was hard to tell was that her or the CGI. I guess with being hard to tell, well, I should automatically give that a yay. It's good computer animation, good special effects, but no, if you haven't seen the movie or when you watch the movie and you know what I'm talking about, she doesn't look like she belongs where she's standing at times when she's there. So I thought could have been done a little bit better, but c'est la vie.
All right, what about now? What about the soundtrack in this movie? Because musically, that was actually probably the best use of old school music I've seen done in a movie in a while. Because it's like totally, it has nothing to do with anything in the movie. The only time I thought the music did not fit the situation was when they played "Hooked on a Feeling," like in the jail sequence. Like that
Yeah,
just, it was the one time it didn't work. But every other time, like when they played ABC 1 2 3 at the very end of the movie, like
man.
all the music going through the movie except that one part, it was like they actually did the music very well throughout the film.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I want to give him huge kudos to that because I think soundtracks have been missing from a lot of movies lately,
yeah.
especially in the 90s. It was always you go to the movie, especially if it was an urban movie. You go to the movie, and nine
Uh-huh.
times out of ten, the best thing about the movie was the soundtrack that you got from the movie. So this was a great use of music in the movie and whatnot. I wish I knew more about Star Lord. Does he really walk around for Sony Walkman? And where did they find those yellow headphones from with the foam still on the
Oh,
earbud?
dude, because after 20 some years they be gone.
Yeah.
Well,
Anybody who had one of those knows that the foam does not last.
what about his batteries though,
And the
man?
battery, I mean, yeah, you can find AA batteries.
Well,
It was
but not well, like in space. Like where was he at?
Well, now stop and think about it, because the movie debuted in 1986, or was it 88? It was 1988, and
80
then it
something,
said
yeah.
it said 26 years later, so they put it in 2014 as the current year. So
Well, dude, I didn't even think about that. Oh, I'm
yeah,
impressed. Your math skills are impressive.
yeah, because I picked that right
I
real
didn't.
quick. Well,
I
it's
didn't
all.
even.
Well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I didn't even think about it like that. No, good
Well,
point.
remember when we were talking about Captain America? It's basically how do you take somebody that you created for a World War II time and put him into the 21st century? Because technically, Captain America came out during gosh, when did he get cryogen? Like the 60s, right?
Well, it was like
So
that was in the 40s. Yeah,
in
for
the
him.
40s, yeah.
Yeah.
So his time lapse, you had to somehow break that. And so if you
Right.
put Captain America in 2014 and Iron Man and all the other characters in 2014, then these characters have to be in 2014 as well. So they did an excellent job of doing that.
Hmm.
So kudos to them. Like I said, the writers are very good. The writers are very, very good that they have, and it's very interesting because I looked for Josh Whedon's name on this, and I did not see it at all.
Yeah,
Josh Weldon. So he
I,
wasn't involved in this one.
I don't think he did, and that was actually a pretty good point too, because see, all the other Marvel movies like the Avengers, the Avengers particularly, like that was one of the reasons why they brought Josh Whedon into the movie is because he knows how, like with Firefly, or whatever he was able to show really good team dynamics for that kind of role. So for this movie, it's almost like an Avengers movie, but not. So, surprisingly enough, he might have had some say, or maybe I don't know how, but but they did it. I have to say that that's one. that's one of the things I can't really find, other than like I said, the villains. I can't really find too much of a negative. Though, something else I was thinking about was like when I said at the very beginning about the Star Wars stuff. Like the very end of the movie basically played out like the last battle in Return of the Jedi. Like it just seemed like that was it. Like I was watching that same battle at the very end, like because he had stuff going on in the spaceship, and then you had all the ships flying around doing crazy stuff. And then of course, there was a point of escalation, and things weren't working out, and then they finally brought the ship down, and
You
it just
know, as you talk about the ending battle sequence, so right, Rowan the Conqueror is on I'm sorry, Rowan the Accuser is on the ship and everything, and you see the Guardians there on the other side, and you're thinking you're about to get this epic battle because now he has Drax by the throat and he's holding him up. You're thinking, okay, finally, Rowan is going to have a fight scene, and then a spaceship comes crashing through.
yeah, man. Dude, I was so disappointed. I was like,
I was just like,
oh.
oh, well, okay, he's dead, and he didn't throw a punch yet. The Guardians didn't really get a chance to fight him. That's great. Okay, yay. And then he comes back for a second time after that happens. And I'm thinking, okay, finally, I get the fight scene with all the Guardians versus Rowan. Okay, here we go. And then all of a sudden, he does a pop lock sequence. And I was just like, okay, this is funny, but where's my battle scene? Where's my battle
Right.
scene? It's almost like in Iron Man 3 when Penny kills the villain. It's almost like,
Almost, but the thing is, they all quote unquote technically did. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, they
I
all
mean,
technically did kill the villain at the end. But, and they left a huge, huge opening for, of course,
hmm
another Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
well, they had to, Marvel's trying to, like I said, Marvel's trying to make that money. So with this movie being done, and apparently with its box office gross, I think it's like at 90 something million.
Yeah,
Um, with that, pretty much we have to get a Black Panther movie. I'm still holding out that that's going to be the
yeah.
end result of this movie happening, because you got Ant-Man and all these others coming out. At some point, someone's gonna have to want to get some adamantium in there. Like, I just think there's got to be one of those things that just got to happen.
Yeah, there's the Black Panther or the Luke Cage movie needs to happen, Marvel. We need this. As a community, we need those movies to happen.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead. We got a question here from our longtime listener, Charlie Smith, and he's wondering why are we, all the fictional things that happen in the movie, why are we wondering where he got batteries from in space?
Cause man.
Because we have to show, that's why.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and his other question is best all around movie of the summer thus far. So let's go into our rankings with that question there. So, buddy, yeah, I'm gonna go with my ranking first.
Okay, go ahead.
This movie, I'm just go ahead and set it out there is a B, solid B. No way does it get the A plus that we gave to Captain America, the Winter Soldier. It's not even near that level. It's not even on the same bracket. It's probably like a middle tier to that if you're talking about bracket standings. It's not Lucy bad either. So I give it a B. This movie is pretty solid. Like I said earlier, yes, experience it on the big screen. Yes, you can watch this movie over and over again. But once I've seen it once on the big screen, I probably won't go see this movie again on the big screen.
I'm gonna give it a B plus, to be honest with you. Like you said, those little flaws like pacing, like the pacing in the very beginning, that's the only part I really had a problem with. But and then the fact that Ronan the Accuser pretty much was just a stepping stone to show how awesome Thanos is probably going to be. That's really the only thing that was flawed with it. But other than that, I mean, it was fun. Like you can't really walk out of that movie and be like, oh, I hated it, or you could if you are that person who just likes to hate things. But you walk out of the movie like, for a movie that Marvel, it's a property that Marvel does not care about and exercised care with the production value of it. Which I think that is probably, if more movies and even my favorite franchise, Transformers, even if they even took that kind of care with the franchise going forward, I think we could see some really impressive movies that are basically nostalgia, nostalgia checks coming in for these for these movie distributors, because let's face it, you got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles coming out next week, and then there's going to be another Transformers movie. You know that all of these other Marvel properties are coming down the pipe. Let's hope and pray that at some point somebody at Sony decides that, hey, we just don't want to do Spider-Man anymore and just give it back to Marvel. Fox, I think, with their take on the X-Men series, the fact that they hit that massive reset button, I think that they realized what their mistakes were. So I'm thinking that this movie is a kind of an example of what you can do. You can make a good movie out of anything. So this movie is a clear example that it is possible to do it, even with the most random thing. Because Guardians of the Galaxy is pretty much a random. It's a random movie. Like, no one, even when we heard about it come out last year, saying that, hey, Guardians of the Galaxy is coming out, everyone's like, well, who are they? Like, no one had any clear notion as to far as who this group actually was. So the fact that they actually did it, and for the most part pulled it off with some good amount of fan service in there, I thought it was pretty awesome. And there's one thing I do want to touch on. I don't know if you looked if you were watching the scene with the Collector, they had one of the Dark Elves actually inside of the Collector thing, like his assortment of goodies that he keeps. Like, they have the Dark Elves and some things from Thor 2 and all. It was like, if you watch that scene, there's probably a whole ton of Easter eggs in there. But the one thing I did see, I don't know if it was Malekith himself. It couldn't have been, but but he actually had one of the Dark Elves were actually stored inside of one of his little containers. I don't know if you want to go into the actual in-credit scene or not. I'll let you make the call on that one, boss.
Okay, so the end credits.
I thought that was probably the most random and most awesome way to put something in that has no relation to the series, but at the same time, it kind of works just because of who it actually dealt with.
I mean, we all knew, because like the Collector in his little collection, he had all things that were jettisoned into space, basically, right?
Right.
Because he had the one of the dogs that we sent out into space. Oh my God! So there's no other way to get around this, but he had Howard the Duck.
Yeah, I mean, that was actually that had to have been one of the. I told my brother's going to go see the movie today, so I know he's not watching this right now, but he's going to see the movie today, and I told him, he was asking me, should I stay around for the end credits yet? I said, if you're going to stay for something that is related to the Avengers or any other future Marvel property, no. But if you want to see something that is pretty much, it was the most creative way to do an end credit scene that was actually funny, because all the other end credit scenes that were quote unquote supposed to be funny were supposed to add something. I really didn't think they added anything. Like the mid credit scenes usually did, but not the very last one. Like the one at the end of the Avengers, that was kind of like that.
Whoa. The end credit scene for Captain America showed us Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch.
That's what I'm saying. Mid credits. Okay. That was a mid credit scene.
Okay.
Remember that at the end of Cap 2, it was Bucky showing that he realized who he was, and I was kind of
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I stayed around over 10 minutes for this. Okay. That one. It's like when you stayed, you're like, oh, that's funny. I'm cool with that. It was because it was the Collector, and it was Howard the Duck, and it was like all just stuff that you just collect from space. That just had to be that was gold for me. So that movie earned an extra point for me just because of that one thing alone.
Yeah, that was quite amazing. Like when I saw him, I was just like, wow. I would watch another Howard the Duck movie if they came out with it. I wouldn't watch the original Howard the Duck. I would watch a Howard the Duck movie if they came out with it.
They may do it, man, because of that. They may. It's for some reason Howard the Duck's gonna get bought by Marvel, and then they're gonna throw it in there somewhere. Like he'll be like Rocket Raccoon's sidekick.
Yeah, that's hilarious. That is hilarious. So you gave it a B plus. I gave it a B. So let's get into the wrap up when we talk about what movie's coming out next. Only thing that I can think of is Ninja Turtles on the 18th of August, if I'm correct.
It's actually this coming week.
It's actually this coming week. Okay,
yeah,
so let me go to. Okay, I like to call her my girlfriend, Google. because she just knows everything. Let's see here. Movie release dates 2014. Okay. All right. So, oh my gosh, Dragon Ball Z?
No, that's the animated
That's an
movie.
animated movie? Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, don't worry, they're not doing that again. Yeah, that's not.
So, yeah, Turtles is the 8th. Into the Storm is the 8th. I do not want to see that.
Nah, we skip that one. That's Twister, but
I
worse.
kind of want to go back and do Get On Up.
Okay, I don't mind. I don't mind doing that. Like, if there's a dead week, maybe we can try to catch that one. I've heard it was really good, but one of my friends, he's a big James Brown fanatic, so that may be. I'll ask him first on how that one was. I'm pretty sure they'll do the character justice. I mean, because Chadwick Boseman, he did a really good job, at least in the trailers, of his impersonation of James Brown himself.
Yeah. So it looks like August is a pretty calm month. So we
Oh,
have,
the Expendables comes out.
yeah. So we
Yeah,
have
later.
we have Turtles this coming Friday, and we have the Expendables 3 the Friday after next, in which Wesley Snipes looks a little suspect in that trailer poster. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. He looks kind of
Well, yeah.
suspect. And then, big question: have you seen the original Sin City yet?
Oh, no, I still haven't, man. I need to go check it out. I
All
have to
right.
do that because I forgot that comes out later this month too, doesn't
Yeah. So end of the month, we got Sin City: A Dame to Kill, and I'm kind of on vacation that week.
it? That's all right,
Yeah.
man. We can come back and do it another week or do it another day in the week. That's either way's fine.
So yeah, I'm gonna be out of town, but I'll have my computer with me. So stay tuned. That's third week in August. So stay tuned. There may or may not be a show. I can't make any promises. So next week, for certain, we got Ninja Turtles coming up. This movie, I'm gonna go ahead and put it out there. When I first saw the trailer, when I first heard the movie, I was thinking, "Yep, not gonna go see this. They're killing the Ninja Turtles as I know it." But it has changed my opinion based
Yeah,
upon what I've read that they're actually going to be mutant turtles. And the trailer now that I'm seeing is a lot better than the trailer I was seeing.
yeah. It's like they're trying to put in some fan service in there. I'm wondering, like, budget wise, what this movie costs because we know that the turtles themselves are all completely computer generated. The thing I'm seeing though is the way that they're probably playing the compositing, like how they blend everything together, live action with the stuff. If you look at the color saturation, that color saturation is really, really high in that movie. So they're kind of, I think that's the way that they're getting by on how to make it actually, instead of having to make it photorealistic, because everything is like, you know, all the colors are like extremely bright, even when it's dark.
Yeah,
So
I'm very interested to see how Will Arnez does in this movie
yeah,
because he's known for being comic relief, and I know he's not playing the role of Casey Jones because Casey Jones was sort of kinda the comic relief in the TV series.
right.
So it'd be very interesting to see the role that he plays. We all know that April O'Neil's being played by Megan Fox, so that's Michael Bay at his best with the eye candy to look at, which is kind of odd because didn't she get kicked off of Transformers because she
Yeah,
couldn't
that was
be
because of Steve. That was because of Steven Spielberg, though. Michael Bay,
Oh,
he was like, oh, whatever, bye. He said, he just let her go at that point, I believe.
okay, so stay tuned. Turtles next week. Richard, tell the people how they can find you.
Gplus.2/Optimus124. I'm
And
gonna
if
go
you,
to get my Twitter thing set back up.
oh, okay, you're coming back to the 140. That's good. That's good.
We'll see how long that'll last.
All right, and you know me as Harry, aka the Mind of Cube. If you can't find me by now, then I'm trying to wonder how did you find this show. But anyways, right down there, as always, you can find my little. Oh, there it is, right down there. My link right down there. You can go check that out whenever you please to. Send some love. You can find me on Google Plus at the Mind of Cube as well. Thank you, people, for watching. This has been episode 11 of the December Blockbuster review series. Stay tuned for episode 12, The Ninja Turtles. Thank you again for your questions, and stay classy.